and turn someone's fear into joy. Find out how you can help by visiting our website at mercyships.org for more information. That's mercyships.org.
Imagine a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
We do, every day. It's a beautiful place.
But right now, families are struggling, and too many children don't have enough to eat.
So we're called to help them, to bring them food, resources, and hope.
To support families today so they can build a better tomorrow for their children.
To do this, we connect people. People like you, who can do so much for the most vulnerable children across this country and around the world.
If we work together and seize this moment, we won't have to just imagine that beautiful place.
We can create a world where no child goes to bed hungry.
Thank you!
Feedthechildren.org.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Your exclusive home for March Madness.
And it goes for the win!
We'll bring you every game live. It's the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament, college basketball's premier event, and it's all right here.
And the dream is alive!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Time to let the big dogs eat. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. It's old school and David Hayes today. Give us a call or text 850-215-6290. That's 850-215-6290 on the radio at 104.3 FM. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and with our TV partner, Blab TV, and make sure to go check them out. Download their app on Roku streaming service, or if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, Amazon Fire TV, get the Blab TV app and take us with you wherever you're at. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, download the new app, and register, all at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The trivia question for today: who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring? We're going to be giving you 2 tickets to Beat Down at the Beach 23 this coming Saturday. Where's it going to be at? It's not Lake Town no more, is it? Or at least for this event.
No, this one is at Edgewater. Edgewater, the convention center there at Edgewater.
Yes, sir. So excited for that one. Can't wait for it. So if you'd like 2 tickets to a VIP table, give me the answer to who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And you can listen on the app as well. Old school, the Houston Texans they're expected to hire, I think it's pretty much set in stone now. It's going to be Lovie Smith as the next head coach. He was the associate head coach last year. He's got an overall record of 89 and 87 as an NFL head coach. And also in 2005, he was the AP Coach of the Year. What does this move mean for the Houston Texans?
Well, I mean, it just means that they're going to have a new coach that is got some experience under his belt. He's been around the league long enough to know the ins and outs of how the league works. It certainly provides some stability to a team that is still in the midst of chaos, considering, what's going on with Deshaun Watson and, what's going to happen there. Is he ever going to be able to be either traded or play for them? He says he doesn't ever want to play for Houston again. So it should offer, Lovey is he's been around forever and ever, had some success there when he was the head coach at the Bengals. And it's an opportunity for them to kind of restart, reboot, and get going again.
No doubt about it. We got Jackson State Jeff on line one. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you got for the trivia question today? Who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring?
The first?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I don't know about the first. I'm going to have the answer. So I'm going to throw it out there. I don't know what two left-handed quarterbacks that play. So I'm going to say Ken Stabler.
Yes, sir. You're 100% correct, and we'll be seeing you at Beat Down at the Beach, former Alabama quarterback, the Snake, right? Ken the Snake Stabler.
The Snake.
Yes, sir. All right, Jackson State Jeff, you know what to do. Just come on by anytime this week before Friday, or, Friday is fine, but you got to have your ticket for this Saturday.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice Valentine's gift out for me and the wife.
There you go, man.
Beat down.
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, yeah, we'll see you later, Jackson State, Jeff. Thanks for the call, buddy. Oh, man. Well, it might be a couple of beatdowns. All right, so let's
They
keep.
say put them to sleep.
Exactly, since 1995.
Since 1995.
Oh, that's
why
a
not?
sleep center. That is some good stuff. All right, so the Dolphins. I like this move for the Texans, though. Sticking on this one. You've got a guy who's been with the program now. He did well in Chicago, and sometimes that's a difficult place to be a head coach, right? I mean, yeah, the franchise is storied, but we hear all the time from our man Max just about how the ownership just really doesn't. They don't care about putting the recipe together as much as they should sometimes, and you almost get that same exact brand here in the Texans, right? Trading away J.J. Watt, getting rid of Clowney, Deshaun Watson. You let go of DeAndre Hopkins. So, how much importance is put upon actually winning? Let's see what Lovie Smith can do, though. It's going to be a tough ride, and especially if Davis Mills is going to be your quarterback, who showed some promise in the latter half of the season. But is he a guy that you can put the team on his back? No.
No.
He's not.
But the thing with Lovey is the fact that he's a grown man. He's been around the league for a long time. He's respected within the league. He's not going to be a laughingstock type situation. He should be able to provide some counsel and guidance to the guys that are buying the cookies or buying the groceries to make some good picks and try to get the talent situation there on the roster. I mean, we were surprised last year that they did. That they did as well as they did last year. So, it's an opportunity for Lovey, and it's a second chance for him after what happened in Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see. We'll see how it works out, though. Me being a Tennessee Titans fan, I'm okay with mediocre or less. Less than mediocre is particularly fine with me. Moving on to the Dolphins here. They hire 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniels. This is the second offensive coordinator that we've seen come from that Washington Redskins in 2013. That staff with Matt LaFleur, with Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and this is the second guy, offensive coordinator, because Mike McDaniels was on that staff as well, but he's a guy that didn't even call his own plays because he was calling underneath Kyle Shanahan. Same with Nathaniel Hackett underneath Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. What are you thinking about this, old school? I think they struck out. I'm not sure. I don't know a bunch about Mike McDaniels. The offense at San Francisco is not what got them on that hot run. You know what I mean? It was defensively led. It was Deebo Samuel led. So I'm not sure. I want to say that they struck out, but it could have been a home run because Tua in Sark's offense is very similar to the offense that Kyle Shanahan runs. So that could be a beneficiary, you know what I mean, that he's going to be back into an offensive game plan that he's accustomed to,
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it happens every year where teams make it to the playoffs, they get to the semifinals, they get to the Super Bowl. and their assistants or their offensive coordinators or defense, they become the hot new guy. Particularly if the hot new defensive specialist or the hot new offensive coordinator, and it just happens again and again and again. When Dan Quinn, before he came over to the Falcons, he was the hot guy for the Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Shanahan was the hot guy when Atlanta made it to the Super Bowl. If he'd have just run the ball, Atlanta might have won the Super Bowl. But again, he's the hot commodity, and it's the same with this year. and it's going to be interesting to see how these guys do it, because, as you mentioned, both of them have never called plays, so they're going to have to rely on somebody to call plays.
You have to get experienced offensive and defensive coordinators in there, especially if you're an offensive guy. Don't you want to have somebody controlling, coordinating your defense that not only he can do, but his reputation precedes him?
You would think so.
You would think so. You would hope so.
But, I mean, in today's world, you just never know. People are always trying something new.
So he's got a 5-year deal, I believe, worth about $125,000 per loss. No, I'm just joking. Green Bay Packers are going to be hiring the interim coach there for the Las Vegas Raiders, Rich Bisaccia, to fix the special teams. And it was exploited in the playoff game against the 49ers, right? You had the blocked kick, you had the blocked punt, return for a touchdown, but they were also 31st old school in the league throughout the duration of the regular season in special teams. So something's got to happen here, and if Bisaccia is not going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, which he's not because it's McDaniels, so this is a perfect opportunity to move on, and you're going to be wanted in that Green Bay Packers organization.
Oh, I think it's a great fit. Given what happened to the Packers in the playoff games with the breakdown in the special teams, this is an opportunity for Rich to get in there and get after it and to turn it around and continue to build a resume there for himself. He was the player's pick to get the head, not the interim head coach, but the full-time head coach. Mm-hmm. A lot of the guys, especially some of the stars, like the quarterback and different guys, wanted him to be the head coach. So it's an opportunity for Rich to build his resume. If he can show that, hey, I can fix this special team situation there in the Packers, opportunity for that. It'll keep building his resume and get him a shot for a head coaching job at some point.
Hey, no doubt. He's well on his way.
He's well respected after what he did for the Raiders.
Yeah, all that turmoil that Las Vegas had to deal with, and for them to make the playoffs, had a shot at taking down the Cincinnati Bengals. And where are the Bengals at right now? That just kind of goes to show how good of a team. And in fact, in my opinion, the Raiders outplayed. I don't think that this was the sentiment by most of the mainstream media, but I thought that the Raiders actually outplayed the Bengals. In fact, outside of the second half of the AFC Championship game, the Bengals have been outplayed on the field, right? But at the end of the day, that's why we play these games. It's just like the question we asked to Brad Law, what was that, Thursday afternoon, talking about, all right, you got Georgia this weekend, and it looks like a game that you could just look right past it on the schedule. And what ended up happening is it got taken down to the wire, and it was a very close situation for Georgia to take down the number one team in the land. But what does the number one team in the land do?
They pull it out.
They pull it out 100%, and just goes to show how good Auburn really is, But just tough stuff there. Did you watch any of the Pro Bowl, School?
I watched one play and said I can't watch this.
One play.
Literally one play. And I was like, is this a walkthrough?
They need to take the pads off.
They do.
They need to take the pads off and
play flag football.
Play flag football. Make it interesting.
Below.
7-on-7 or whatever. Maybe, make it where your wide receivers and running backs are the offensive line, and then your offensive line and defensive linemen are playing in skill positions. They've got to do something. Maybe take the NHL approach of aligning divisions and making the teams that way instead of separating it into two conferences. I'm not sure what can be done. And here's another thing I think that's missing out on viewers of the game, right? This is a vacation game for them. You know what I mean? It's not meant for them to be intense. It's not Sean Taylor going to tackle a kicker or a punter at a high rate of speed. He was an anomaly, right? But I don't know what they can do to fix it. But also at the same time, we have to realize, like, this is an all-star game. Their season is done. In their mind, it's the off season, right? Because the two teams that are playing, none of those players in the Super Bowl, none of those players are on the field for this game. Now, one issue I do have, old school, and it's not a huge issue. I feel like I wish Tom Brady would have played in the game because unless he comes back, that was it. You know what I mean? Like such a great game for him to go out on, even though it was a loss against the Rams with another almost huge history-making comeback. And so it would have been nice to see him play. But dude, he's just never around to play in the Pro Bowl. Anyways, when was the last time he played in the Pro Bowl? Like 2005 or something like that?
I can't remember the last time.
Because he's always in the Super Bowl.
9 times he's been in the Super Bowl, so he wouldn't play in it. I agree with you, Dave. I think it's an opportunity for Tom to have played, and it was a way. It's kind of like when Kobe, was going to be his last game, and everybody kind of said, okay, we're going to let Kobe be Kobe. And he got his 61, and off he rode into the sunset. And I think that would have been kind of a cool thing have Tom come out and let Tom throw it all over the field, do whatever he wanted to do.
I think you just said the Kobe Bryant game, right? His last game, yeah.
Like the Kobe deal.
Yeah.
And let him, let's let the players give him the honor that he deserves.
Yes.
Because that was what was cool with Kobe was the players, the NBA players gave Kobe
both teams that
sides.
night.
Yeah, they did. And that was what was cool about it was they were paying homage to Kobe and letting Kobe do his thing and be what he is. It was an opportunity for the NFL to have done the same thing with Tom, but for whatever reason he chose not to.
Well, it's just I think it's so tough for NFL fans who have been following for the last 22 years. And his last game, like I was just saying, against that rank, it's like we know he's got more in the tank, but he's just being an unselfish role model, if you will, honestly, right? Spending time with his family, which if, that should be a focus for every man and woman.
Well, how much his family has sacrificed for
him. So it's payback.
So that he could continue to live his dream of playing in the NFL and setting more and more records and becoming the GOAT. So now it's an opportunity for him to go and allow his family and to spend time with them and to be and sacrifice for them the same way that they did for him.
No doubt. So AFC gets the win in the Pro Bowl.
Well, can I ask you about?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Matt Jones thing.
Yeah, what about it? The gritty, the dance.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially what happened?
What's up with that?
First off, I think you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
It's because it was a white quarterback dancing, right? You know what I'm saying? Not very good. Like I'm saying, he's not a great dancer, right? And Justin Jefferson kind of gets the credit for creating that. But the real why I think it's getting the headlines that it's getting isn't because he hit the gritty. It's because he was down. You know what I'm saying? He was down and he ran all the way to the end zone and did it. But in that right there is emblematic of why this is what it is, right? Why it's not as intense as what people want. Because, first off, they're playing two-hand touch out there when it comes to the quarterback most of the time. You had one, you did have an instance where Patrick Mahomes got pushed down to the ground. But they're just out there having fun, you know what I mean? And so I think if we can watch it from that angle, you get more out of it. But I'm with you, old school. I watched the clash, the Busch Light clash. I watched that more of that than I did of the Pro Bowl, you know, and I was actually watching more of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am than I did of the Pro Bowl, and a lot of that is two-hand touch and stuff like that, but I also get it from their perspective as the player. Your mind's off-season mode right there, and you've got training coming up in April, so what can you really, you know what I mean? Like,
I realized
you're just
that
there to have fun.
He was just trying to have fun,
Mhm.
and I realized that. But it just seemed, if it had been a 20-yard, if they'd have been on their, on the 20, and he runs 20 yards into the end zone and does it.
Yeah, why
okay,
did he?
Why did he have to run
play that all the way out?
yards all the way out? I don't quite get that.
Well, because in practice, in regular games and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, you're still running, right? You see the light. You're running towards the touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe he just got caught. He was playing that game. He's a rookie, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't been there before. He hasn't done it before. So I think that for him, it was just like, oh, man, I'm not a mobile quarterback, but let me show my wheels off, you know, and then hit the gritty on the way in. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout and then dig into what's going on with Alvin Kamara. There's a high probability from the police report that I've read that he might be facing some time. So, but you know how it is, innocent until proven guilty. But the eye in the sky, don't tell lies. We'll be right back.
Overnight weather forecast for the entire listening area, mostly cloudy skies, 40 to 45, light north winds, 30-40% coverage of rain showers. The clouds will thin out to some sunshine Tuesday, temperatures approaching 60, and a north wind about 10. Wednesday and Thursday will be around 60 or so, plenty of winter sunshine to go around. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Offord Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 56.
The fairy tale continues.
Sunday, February 13th, we're bringing you the game live from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California.
Super Bowl 56 is sponsored locally by Diego's Burrito Factory, Bill Bird Kia, Best Way Portable Buildings, Mr. Transmission, Mid-South Lumber, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Craft means a good cayenne kick and all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken, all served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, craft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Craft Sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
We have some trick-or-treaters. Happy Halloween. Ah, not the IRS.
Afraid of some scary folk showing up at your door? Not ghouls and goblins. Tax collectors! If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes and haven't filed in years, the IRS wants you to pay up. The IRS can freeze your bank accounts, but you don't have to face this monster alone. Call the Tax Doctor for a free case review of $500 value. The Tax Doctor has years of experience to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress.
Not again. Are you supposed to be a superhero?
No, I'm the Tax Doctor.
Don't fear the IRS. Call now.
800-520-0735. 800-520-0735. 800-520-0735. That's 800-520-0735.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Give us a call or text 850-215-6290. So a Sad incident happening over there in Las Vegas yesterday after the Pro Bowl game. So Kamara did play in the Pro Bowl game, but video surveillance has shown Kamara punching a man about 8 times before his associates proceeded to stomp him out just a little bit more, several more times. The article goes on. This was at a Las Vegas casino Saturday.
Yes.
Oh.
This
happened Saturday morning.
Correct. Right. This is before the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
and the
man.
police came to the Pro Bowl and read him his rights.
And let him play in the game?
This is after the game.
Okay.
They read him his
so
rights.
They arrested him at the game.
At the game.
And then the reports didn't start coming out till about, 6 o'clock? And you got Cam Jordan on Twitter basically putting out a tweet simultaneously as this happening. Obviously, the news hadn't broke yet, and he didn't know that his teammate had been arrested, but he said, the Pro Bowl, the players are good on and off the field, and that's one of the reasons they're at the Pro Bowl. And so the guy who was knocked unconscious, he sustained an orbital fracture to his right eye, among other injuries. Video came out with this, and it matches up with the victim's account of what happened, and not necessarily exactly how Kamara laid it out on the table. Ooh, this happened 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
In the morning.
I guess when you stay up all night, things happen.
And if you're Kamara, I get it. Not saying I get it, but why not just let your posse take care of it? If you're a pro athlete like that, you know what I'm saying? If someone does tick you off, at least let the implications not fall on you.
Yeah, the story doesn't make a lot of sense. I've the video accounts of them getting in the elevator, him getting off the elevator, going out. The guy was down on the ground when he punched him 8 times.
I think that he I don't know if he hit him 8 times while he was on the ground. I think that it was like 2 hits and then the rest, or maybe 4 hits and then 4 more on the ground.
Anyway, one of his
3 times after he fell to the ground.
And then after he stopped and went back and got in the elevator, one of his associates stomped on the guy.
3 of them.
3 of them.
Approximately 16 times there, according to the police report.
Yeah, I don't know what the guy said. I don't know what the situation was. According to the victim, he was saying he was asking for an autograph. I don't know. It's an ugly situation, and to have the police come to the stadium and read him his rights, and then I don't think they actually took him into custody at that point. They did not put him in cuffs. I think he turned himself in later on.
Sean Payton's just getting out at the right time with what's going on. And man,
it's a mess. And this is what happens.
I wonder if he plays with the stock market.
And everybody talks about how it's great that they're having all of these events in Vegas. Well, yeah, it is, but then it's not, because when you're in Vegas and you do what you do in Vegas, sometimes things get out of control, and unfortunately,
not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
And this one didn't stay there because it's on video, and it's going to be another ugly black eye, no pun intended.
Yeah.
For the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Well, he goes to court for that Monday, March 8th, though. So that's about a month away, and we'll see how this whole thing proceeds. But he could be facing anywhere from 1 to 5 years state penitentiary time. So we'll find out what happens there. Going back to the Pro Bowl real quick, Justin Herbert and Max Crosby were your offensive and defensive MVP, little AFC West flavor there, and Crosby playing for the Raiders, hometown hero. But also, there was a moment in the game where Stephon Diggs, right? They're brothers. Trayvon lines up to play wide receiver, so they put Stephon Diggs out there as defensive back, and he gets to break up a pass. Looks like Stephon Diggs might be a better cornerback than his little brother. That was the first time as professionals that they did that. Pretty cool, though. Pretty cool moment in the Pro Bowl game. And that's, one of those things which you don't even have to watch the game for because you got Twitter. So you could just hop on Twitter and find out what you need to find out about from the weekends. The Titans general manager, John Robinson, has come out and said that Tannehill is our quarterback. He's 33 years old, and he's in the middle of a 4-year, $118 million deal. And he's going to be getting he's costing the Tennessee Titans $38.6 million against the cap in 2022, and then $57.4 dead cap charge if he were to be released. That is according to Spot Track. So the news of Aaron Rodgers building in Nashville does not seem to be relevant to what's going on because they're saying Tannehill is our quarterback. Is that good or bad for the Titans? Fan perspective? Man, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, how far can Tannehill lead you? But at the same time, the production that we've got out of Tannehill has been better than what we had in the past. What are you thinking, though? Can Tannehill get the job done? And when I say that, I mean Super Bowl.
It's going to be a challenge for him. If you look at his numbers are very respectful. Regular season numbers are very respectful. But it's just that on the big stage the other day, he threw 3 interceptions and a couple of really ugly ones.
Yeah.
And really cost his team. And then when you got a guy like Aaron Rodgers is building a house in your town, and Aaron Rodgers is talking about maybe looking for another place to play. I don't know. Maybe it's just, Jim Nance built a house there. Maybe it's just become the LA of Tennessee, and everybody wants to live there. So maybe the State Farm commercial is true. Maybe he wants to become a folk singer, and he's going to Nashville to do it. So we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, well, man, I really did enjoy that Busch Light Clash last night, so we're going to get Dr. Tom on the line with us when we get back to talk a little NASCAR.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.
Weaves his way through traffic to the basket, put it up, yes, and one. Wendell, long 3, bang!
Tomorrow, number 1 Auburn faces Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Swing 15-footer, swing! Inbound, dunks it, 18-footer, good!
Coverage begins at 5:30 Central on your home for Auburn basketball.
Coverage begins Tuesday night at 5:30.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Impact Promotions and Wicked Wheel presents Beat Down at the Beach 23, featuring a stacked-up lineup of MMA boxing and kickboxing matches. Impact Promotions brings the hard-hitting action to Edgewater Beach Resort February 12th. Reserve your VIP table today. Call 850-691-9650. Don't miss the exciting fist-flying, high-kicking, no-holds-barred action as warriors give it their all. Call 850-691-9650 for tickets. Sponsored by Parkway Tire and Flooring Solutions.
What's up, everybody? David Pollock here with Bar Burritos. Did you know that Bar Burritos has 35 farm fresh ingredients? That means you have over 3,000 entree combinations that you can put on your plate. Luckily, Bar Burritos put together their 9 under 500 calorie menu, which features 9 different entrees that you can feel great about eating. Try the ground turkey salad with double protein, the mini chicken burrito, or my personal favorite Friday meal, fish tacos with guacamole. It's a winning play with Bar Burritos.
Mid-South Lumber has new owners. Stop in and visit Ann and Dave. They're on site every day to make you a priority. They're not the typical big box store, and customer service is their #1 priority. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Transform your home with James Hardy Siding. Durability, fire resistant, sustainability. James Hardy Color Plus is virtually maintenance free and comes with a 30-year warranty. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Love is in the air at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, and do we have a sweetheart of a deal for you?
All diamond heart jewelry is on sale for 30% off. All color gemstones, 60% off at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We also have a large selection of gold, silver, and estate jewelry that is sure to melt her heart.
Folks have trusted us to make their Valentine's sweeter. This year, make it even sweeter with a free long stem rose with every $150 purchase. Now that's a Valentine she'll never forget.
Tracy's Fine Jewelry, melting hearts for over 45 years.
He's got a wife, a family, a dog, and many other responsibilities. But for 2 hours a day, he shreds that baggage for what he really loves, sports. Boston Tim is part of the Afternoon Underdogs from the Rib Crib Radio Room, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to the Rib Crib Radio Room, and we're the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Dr. Tom on the line. It's been about since November since he's been on with us. Dr. Tom, what's going on?
It has been November, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know what else to say.
and we're on the cusp of Valentine's Day as well. So happy Valentine's Day, Dr. Tom.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. That's Dr. Tom's favorite holiday.
Well, the wife's already booked plans.
That's
so.
what I mean. She's already got it all planned out for you. That's the best kind of holiday there is.
I agree.
Your job is to just show up and pick up the check.
Suit up, show up, and shut up.
That's it.
That is a quote right there. Dr. Tom, we had the Busch Light Clash last night. What did you think of that, and what did you think of the track?
Well, as I mentioned to you before we got on the air, David, I was very skeptical of that track when I first saw the configuration. I mean, from the air, it looked like a blunt-tipped football, and I thought, well, this is going to be it's going to be at best like a Martinsville experience. But fans love that type of racing. It's close-quartered. It requires some aggressive driving, and you saw a lot of that yesterday. And I will say overall, the event turned out way better than I expected. And, truly it was an event. As somebody commented on the TV, I went to an event and the NASCAR race broke out.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I thought of is I went to the Rose Bowl and the NASCAR race broke out. I mean, it's really interesting. And so, what do you think of the new generation or the next generation cars?
Well, I'm anxious as heck to see them on Daytona because that's going to really, be the proving ground. They've done lots of testing. I think a couple of things I took away with this independent rear suspension and independent, they moved the transmission back to basically turned it into a transaxle, so the transmission sits back behind the driver. And they had problems with two cars with that yesterday. The independent suspension, it looked like, they hit anything. It knocked the suspension so out of line that you pretty much ended your day. The other thing I thought that was interesting are these composite bodies. There wasn't a lot of high speed. Obviously, there were no high speed crashes yesterday, but I'm going to be anxious to see what happens to those composite bodies when they get a big impact at a higher speed. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure from a safety standpoint, they're great, but I don't know how much of a mess they're going to make on the track after a bad accident.
So, Dr. Tom, Kyle Larson, whatever he does, he's great at. How do you think he would do in the Indy 500?
There's nothing that would make me more excited than to see him get a ride. There's been a lot of press written. Robin Miller, I think we talked about it the last time we were on the air a couple months back. Before he passed, he commented that, the IndyCar Series really needs to get an effort put together to get Larson a ride. It's not going to happen this next year, or this year, I should say. But I would not be surprised to see somebody try to put a package together for him. And if anybody can afford it, the Hendrick team can afford, Mr. Hendrick can afford to put together an opportunity. And along those same lines, it's interesting to me that Jimmy Johnson, who, of course, joined the IndyCar Series with the intention of running only the road course races because they're lower speed and somewhat safer, he's announced his intention to run in the Indy 500 this year and run all the oval courses.
2022.
What, Dr. Tom, what do you think the negotiation process with
that is a great question.
with Mrs. Johnson? What do you think that negotiation was like?
Yeah, I'd love to be a mouse in the room to hear that one.
I'm like, wait a minute, how did he pull that off? And I know that he's such a competitor that I'm sure it was hard for him to not run in those races, but still, when you make a promise like that to your wife, usually they're going to hold you to it.
Yeah, the IndyCar, the speeds are so high in
Yeah.
Indy. We're looking at a little bit over 230 miles an hour. You basically are dealing with 90-degree curves, not progressive curves like an oval track would have. And so you're taking a lot of G-force and a lot of speed into each of those corners, especially 1 and 3 when you're at your highest speeds on entry. And, we've seen it so many times that somebody loses the tail end and, you're going to have a high impact with a concrete surface. We've seen terrible injuries. And Indy's been notorious for several deaths in the course of time too. So I imagine that negotiation wasn't easy, but I still would like to see him compete. I don't think he quite has the talent. He hasn't adjusted his talent and his skills to IndyCar racing as much as he's going to need to be competitive. But does he have the capability of doing that? Absolutely.
Dr. Tom, who is your favorite to win it all this year?
Well, that's a good question, David. I certainly can see Kyle Larson repeating because his domination is not going to go away. I look for Chase Elliott to have a strong year. Kyle Busch is certainly going to have a strong year. The Penske stable is always strong. Of course, Logano won yesterday for Penske, and now they brought Austin Cindric up, to fill in to drive the 2 car for this year. I think it's going to come from that cadre of people that I just mentioned, I suspect.
What about Daytona? Who's going to pull it off at Daytona this year?
Daytona is a crapshoot. Daytona is like Talladega. How many times have we seen, they'll have multiple cautions for the last, 15, 20 laps. They'll line up for a green-white checker finish. And it's historically, if you're in 3rd or 4th place going into that restart, you probably have more of an advantage than to be on the front row because you get the push from behind and the slingshot effect of the side drafting. So, yeah, it's a gamble. I mean, look, last year Michael McDowell won it. The odds against him winning that last year, I can't even imagine what they were. I'm sure they were well close to 2,000 to 1. We've seen guys like Derek Cope win the Daytona 500. And then we see other drivers who really excel at that haven't really had a lot of wins, but you see Ricky Stenhouse and even Bubba Wallace has done extremely well at Daytona. So it's open to just about anybody as long as you're running in the top 10 or 12 cars for those last handful of laps going to the checker. You got a shot at it.
Absolutely. So NASCAR said at the start of the week that about 70% of those who purchased tickets identified as first-time race attendees. I wanted to ask you what track you would recommend for someone to go to their first NASCAR race.
Well, that's a great question, David. I've had the pleasure to be at a lot of the different tracks, and there certainly are some that are my favorite. Bristol still is one of the greatest experiences because you're so close to the action and you can see the entire speedway. I think the hard time for a first-time attendee at a place like Bristol is trying to keep track of the cars get so intermixed with lap cars that it's hard to keep the current sequence of leaders in perspective. I think still if a guy's going to go to his first race, I think Michigan, certainly Atlanta with the new pavement. Those two tracks are high speed, and they're not just all drafting. There's a lot more driver skill, making different approaches to and coming out of the turns. In fact, I'm looking forward. I'm going down in about 3 weeks to do the NASCAR experience down on the Atlanta on the new surface.
Oh, I am excited for you, Dr. Tom. We got a question. Go ahead.
We need video evidence of that, Dr. Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Caveman Rick wants to know if you've talked about Austin Cindric a lot on the show. Do you think that he just broke out yesterday? He seemed to go from the back of the pack to gaining 4 or 5 positions in a lap and a half. What do you think about Austin Cindric, and is this his breakout year?
Well, Austin Cindric's got a lot of talent. I mean, we saw him essentially dominate the Xfinity Series for the past couple seasons, and I'm glad he's got a chance to go up the Cup. He's only going to continue to improve. I will say this, and you can ask the drivers would certainly verify this if you listen to what they have to say, and that there's still a learning experience to jump from Xfinity to Cup. It takes 2 or 3 seasons to really feel comfortable, and for that matter, to have the other drivers feel comfortable with you too, especially on the high-speed, close drafting tracks. Do I look for him to do well? Yeah, I look for him to do well. Could he get a win? He certainly could. Wouldn't be beyond my belief. But I look for him certainly to improve over the course of the season, and he's going to be a competitor, and we're going to have him around for some time.
Well, Dr. Tom, what's your expectation for the 23 car and Bubba Wallace?
Well, I think he had a pretty good season last year for basically an upstart team.
Yeah.
And now adding Kurt Busch to that team is going to bring some experience of having a teammate that he can really interact with and get a lot of feedback. They can bounce off one another in terms of their ideas and their setups. I would expect Bubba to have a more consistent season this year than he had last year. It was kind of hit and miss for him last year, but it was better than previous seasons. And overall, what do I think of that team? Well, that team's going to, with a two-car team now, that certainly is a help because, as I said, you learn from the other drivers and the other team. You can bounce ideas and setups off each other. So I think they'll make a strong impression over the course of this year. I don't know, if we can expect, wins out of those two cars because they're still kind of on the still in the learning curve. But they've got the right people there. They seem to have great chemistry. So I'll be anxious to watch them, to be honest with you.
We're talking to Dr. Tom, keeps us up to date on NASCAR. Jesse Iwuji and Emmitt Smith. Did I get that pronunciation even remotely close?
I think you're close, but yeah. They're both getting into the Xfinity series, as I understand. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. So I wanted to the question really is, do you expect that these partnerships like Michael Jordan, Emmitt Smith, these big names, do you expect that to further the chase for a more diverse fan base?
Well, I definitely think that has an effect. You had Pitbull yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
You're entertained. Yeah, and he's now a part owner of the Fast Track team. He's a big racing enthusiast. Michael Jordan is a big racing enthusiast. So these guys that have had successful careers in other venues, they've got ample assets, and basically what it takes is, can you bring the money to the table? And in racing, as you well know, it's money that makes you competitive. The old saying is the best way to make a small fortune racing is to start with a large fortune.
Oh, man.
Been there.
Well, I definitely enjoyed that short track racing yesterday. I thought it was great. I thought Joey Logano really, once he kind of got – I felt bad. I really felt bad for Tyler Reddick because he was just kind of blowing everybody away. And then I guess he had some type of a mechanical issue there around lap 52, I believe it was.
Yeah, he was probably the best car on the track. Throughout the whole weekend, he had a strong car. He was certainly very dominant at the start. He's a guy that I look to see get wins. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a cup level win already. He's come close. So I do feel bad for him. But yeah, he had a transaxle problem, kind of what I was talking about before with this new combination transmission and transaxle arrangement on this new Gen X car. I think there's still going to be a learning curve for NASCAR, and you probably see some technical adjustments, mechanical adjustments that will come through the rules over the course of the season. But yeah, I'd look for Tyler Reddick. That's a great point. I couldn't agree with you more about Tyler Reddick.
Well, the clash, is this something, especially putting it at the Coliseum in LA? Is this something that you think NASCAR is going to do, where they find an iconic venue multiple times to do that race in, or is it just a one and done type situation?
Well, I tell you, I think this started with the concept last year of putting dirt on the Bristol Speedway and running one of the two races as a dirt race. They spent a fortune doing that. It was a huge success. They're going to do it again this year. Obviously, they said they spent well over $1 million. I'm surprised it wasn't more than that to build that track inside the Coliseum. Mm-hmm. And they're basically tearing it out starting today. Do I see them doing that again? Potentially, I do. I think they had. They brought a different type of fan base into that facility, basically because it's LA and because it's got the flash and the panache. But at the same time, the roots of the sport are still here in the Southeast. And I'm enough of an old timer that I still feel strongly about those roots. So NASCAR's got to be careful that they don't get too far away from that. I know they like this national market scheme and these big market races, but the small tracks is what built NASCAR. And just like I think anything else in life, don't forget where you came from and who brought you.
No doubt about it. Thank you so much, Dr. Tom. We'll be you want to get on with us next Monday as well?
Yeah, certainly. I think we have qualifying next weekend, so we'll have an idea going in what it's going to look like going into the qualifying races the following Thursday. So, yeah, if you'd like to, I'll be here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dr. Tom. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Great to hear you guys. See you then.
Absolutely, man. Love having Dr. Tom on. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. That was Dr. Tom. And we're going to take a short time out, come right back, and start defending some stances.
Overnight weather forecast for the entire listening area. Mostly cloudy skies, 40 to 45. Light north winds, 30-40% coverage of rain showers. The clouds will thin out to some sunshine Tuesday. Temperatures approaching 60 and a north wind about 10. Wednesday and Thursday will be around 60 or so. Plenty of winter sunshine to go around. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
The new app from ESPN Northwest Florida has up-to-the-minute sports news, interaction with local hosts in real time, easy download and no credit check, live streaming, real-time traffic and programming schedules, 40 miles per gallon, rack and pinion steering, leather interior, and built-in alarm clock.
Here's how to order.
Download our free app from the Apple Store and Google Play.
Dynamite!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Craft means bacon. And oh, so crispy. Kraft means a good cayenne kick. And all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken. All served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, Kraft means quality. And for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Kraft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Buckle up out there, everybody. Buckle up.
It's a dangerous ride.
No doubt. We got a couple of things to handle. First things first, some business. The code word for today, old school, is payoff. P-A-Y-O-F-F. Take that code word. Head over to espnpc.com/contest. Enter the code word there, or the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Payoff is the word for today, and that's your chance to win $1,000 in cash, the grand slam of cash. Head on over there right now and enter that code word in, because we're in a contest right now with Coach James Hale.
Yeah.
And he's got...
They got a little lead.
Yeah, they got a lead on it. So y'all do me a favor.
Just go over there, sign up,
Yeah.
You can go to the app. You can go to our website. I mean, just get in there and sign up.
Do it. Well, I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen, you're going to win $1,000.
And you got 2 chances to win $1,000.
Hey, no doubt. Well, also, just now finding out, it's a birthday. It is. This segment right here is brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense, and the leader, Michelle Nowalinsky. It's your birthday, and we are so happy for you. Happy birthday.
That's awesome. Happy birthday.
That is great stuff, and thanks for letting us know, Caveman Rick. This weekend, they're going to be in Columbus, Georgia. We pity the fool who doesn't use our tool. Old school, how can the NFL fix the Pro Bowl? We've gotten a couple of texts in by saying incentivize it, pay them. They do get paid.
They get paid.
The AFC players got $80,000 because they won, and then the NFC players got $40,000. Here's the difference, though, old school. The NHL, the winning team there, I don't know if the players get paid for going, but the winning team, which I believe they have 11 players on the team, splits $1 million. Wow. Well, what's $1 million divided by
11?
Yeah.
That's not.
It's about 80
grand.
Exactly. Okay, so they're right on the same exact level. So money is not necessarily the fixer upper in this case. What do you think that they could do to I don't know, make it a better product?
I don't know that they can. I mean, I think the way the players approach the game now, it's a little bit like, and this is hard to say as an old guy, but it's a little bit like the bowl games. They're just not important.
The bowl games are better.
No, they're not.
They're better than that.
They're better than that.
They actually tackle.
Yeah, they are better than that. But as far as the people taking them seriously,
yes,
the stars taking them seriously, they don't. It's all about protecting themselves and making sure they don't get injured.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's myself. I would just not hold it every year.
All right, so dude, that's a great idea. Do you remember that we didn't have a Pro Bowl last year?
I didn't
remember that till I'm reading, and I'm like, oh man, that's right. We didn't have a Pro Bowl game, and no one blinked an eye. No one cared. So as much as it is a cool thing, I honestly think that you just go, like I was saying earlier, put the linemen, put the big hosses in skill position, have your kickers and punters play quarterback, do something, take the pads off. They had a flag football tournament before, not the NFL players, but younger players, and I think the team from Panama won, not Panama City, Panama. So yeah, you gotta do something else. I've seen someone say take fans of the NFL teams and do something like that. I don't know what that would really work out. I think, man, just move it over to flag football, because if you're not gonna like if a player makes a interception, all right, and they're not getting tackled in the Pro Bowl, they're two-hand touching them to get them down. You know what I mean? Well, there was one yesterday, a dude ran it all the way back, got the touchdown, but he did get touched. So there's no consistency there, which is just about normal for NFL referees, right? No consistency. I don't know, man, because it's an enjoyable weekend for the players who do want to go. Some, it's an inconvenience for them to go. You know what I mean? It's one more appearance that you have to make before you can really get into that off season.
You're talking about anywhere from 40 to 80 grand.
Yeah.
That's more than just an inconvenience.
For some of those players, yeah, but for some of them,
I mean, it's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money to you and I.
For us.
But if you're Aaron Rodgers, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
if you make it to a certain status,
level, yeah.
certain tier, then all of a sudden that's a drop in the bucket to you.
Well, then they are to play and donate it to a charity.
That's a great idea as well. But they should be playing in the games. You know what I mean? If you get voted.
I think the answer here is to not play tackle football.
Right.
Play something else.
Dodgeball.
Play dodgeball.
They do it at the skills contest.
Or just, just do the superstar competition where you have the fastest guys running and call it. They don't have to have a football game.
Yeah.
You can be an all-pro player without being named and without having to go out there and actually play a football game where people don't really want to hit.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes football interesting is the fact that these huge men are running into each other and tackling them. And if they're not going to do that, it's not fun to watch. I'd rather see them do a superstars competition where they bowl and they play golf and they do other things besides that.
That is a very good point, Old School. We had a text earlier from Corey, who was on the show a couple of Fridays ago with us, and he says, man, now you're going to leave Big Ben out of the discussion. They should have had Tom Brady running the NFC team, and they should have had Big Ben running the AFC team. That was from Corey. I also, Big Ben's numbers were not worthy of the Pro Bowl, but they're still... all of his previous years, I think, says enough for just one more ride into the sunset. So, Corey, you're 100% right. Big Ben should have been making an appearance there. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to get you to Paul Feinbaum today at 6 o'clock after the show. And then at 7:30, we've got a big one, Oklahoma State and Kansas. And what did Kansas do to Baylor this weekend? Find out when we get back with our 5 at 5.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show. Weekday mornings 7 till 9 on your station for the best local sports talk.
We used to be hungry, wanted to be successful, and it made you want to get that degree where you can go out and do something in your life. And now the world's changed so much. These young people, they're so used to things, free lunches, free rent, free this, free that. So I can see them saying, hey, these guys are making the money, we need to be paid. And I kind of agree with them now.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mid-South Lumber has new owners. Stop in and visit Ann and Dave. They're on site every day to make you a priority. They're not the typical big buck store, and customer service is their number one priority. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Transform your home with James Hardy Siding. Durability, fire resistance, sustainability. James Hardy Color Plus is virtually maintenance-free and comes with a 30-year warranty. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Looking for ways to save at the pump? Ask about Offer's fuel induction service that can improve gas mileage and engine performance, cleaning any buildup that forms inside your engine parts at Offered Tire and Service Center. Their latest technology to clean up the entire system, not just the gas tank.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
The official radio station of Super Bowl 56. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Nathan 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Gulf Coast Tree Specialist, Harborage Yacht Club, Island Fin Poke, Keller Williams Success Realty, Cindy Cleghorn Realtor, Serenity south of the spa on Harrison, Margaritaville Beach Cottage Resort, Panama City Beach, and Tidal Wave Auto Spa of Panama City.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, ESPN Northwest Florida.
When the sun sets on the Emerald Coast, the freaks come out and play. David Hayes. Old School.
Very exciting.
And Boston Tim.
Good information.
Live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're in the Rib Crib Radio Room listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. And we're about to get into the 5 at 5. If you'd like to sponsor this segment, shoot me a text, 850-215-6290. This is going to be the top 5. We picked 8 games on Friday because we had a lot of good games on the slate for college basketball. Caveman Rick had the best picking of us all at 6-2. You and I tied old school at 5-3, and then AG Adam Goff was even 500 at 4-4. So UConn and Villanova. Nova was at the house. They get the win 85-74. Illinois and Indiana. So glad that you and Adam picked Indiana because I went with the Fighting Illini and Fighting Illini, whatever. I just
want you to know it'd be the last time I
You
ever
go
picked
with
anything from Indiana.
Indiana.
Thanks a lot, Calvert.
They got a pretty big win, 74-57. Your boys, though, with a 22 points victory, 8 points away from a shellacking of Iowa State. And we was right, old school. Iowa State is just a much better team at the house. Kerry Miller on Twitter said, now both of these teams, it was USC. I believe it was Iowa State. They were undefeated in non-conference play, right? And if you switched their schedules, Iowa State and USC, which team do you think would have the better record? And he's overwhelmingly Iowa State, and I do agree with that. Iowa State is a good ball team, but they're a lot better at the house than they are on the road. Now let's talk about what we teased y'all with. Kansas, wow. So Kansas, got beat up by Kentucky last weekend, right? Mm-hmm. And then this weekend
they took on Baylor, and
they were at the house, right? And they beat them 83-59. And we're talking about Baylor now, who's got 4 or 5 losses. They went from looking extremely dominating to, they're still fierce, but they're losing to these opponents that are equal with them. And do you believe in them to make a deep run again this year?
Yeah, I still believe in them. I think, whenever you're when you're the number 2 ranked team and you're going into the number 1 or whatever, what was Baylor's ranking? They were number 2, right? And they were going to Kansas. Mm-hmm. And they were going into their house to play. What do you think the atmosphere was like?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And we saw a little bit of it. Just watch, if you listen to the Georgia Auburn game. Georgia got some home cooking calls. Georgia shot twice the number of free throws. It was just, and that was the only way that Georgia stayed around was because of the fact that they were a good free throw shooting team and they shot a bunch of free throws. Does it worry me?
No,
it doesn't worry me at all. It's just because those kids know it. They go in there, they take the whipping, and then they go home and they go, "We'll see you when it comes tournament time, when we're playing on a neutral court."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a different world right there.
Another team making some waves this year is Arizona. They get the win over USC, 72-63, and then Coach K's final game at Chapel Hill went just about how we all had it. Well, you had UNC there. You and Caveman Rick actually had North Carolina. But they get the win 87-67.
Did I pick North Carolina?
At least that's what my paper says.
Yeah, I did.
We can always change it back for you if you want to know. But Duke, they're looking, Kerry Miller actually has UNC as one of his last 5 teams getting in. So we'll see, man. But Duke, they're looking Dukish right now. Did. I was about to say Dookie, but they're not looking like Dookie. No. They're not looking like Dookie. Then we had Gonzaga. They shellacked them. They put a shellacking on BYU, 90-57 on the road there. And then Kentucky and Alabama. Man, that score was a lot closer than what it should have been. Kentucky really did. They took care of Alabama. There were streaks Alabama was trying to get back in there, but Kentucky also is turning that corner and is looking to be a force to be reckoned with here in the conference play. Getting ready. What you said it the other day, 6 weeks and
6 weeks away.
It's on us, man. March Madness, one of the best tournaments of the year, if not the best. I don't know. You can make the argument. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Let's get into some games tonight. Number 8, Kansas is taking on Texas. Oh, that's the game that we have. Next Monday is Oklahoma State and Kansas. Tonight it's Kansas and Texas, and we're picking that. So 7:30 coverage starts. Tip off 8 o'clock. Who you like in that game? Texas is a 1.5-point underdog at the house in this game.
As they should be. Kansas is a very, very good team. We just saw what they did to Baylor. They are going to be in Austin at Texas's house. So I'm going to roll with it and say that Kansas has a little bit of a letdown and Texas gets the victory tonight.
All right. Then I'll go opposite with you. I was going to take Texas, but I think I'll roll with Kansas. They're not going to do to Kansas won't do to Texas what they did to Baylor the other night. I don't think, but who knows? I'll go with the Jayhawks tonight. Raptors at the Hornets. Hornets also at the house, but a 2-point underdog. What do you like in this one?
I'll take the Hornets. It seems to be when they play the best is at home, so I'm not afraid. I'll take them.
I'm going with them too, man. Let me get LaMelo Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Miami Heat at the Wizards. There's a couple of NHL games on tonight, but the majority of it is NBA tonight. So Heat at the Wizards. Wizards also 6-point underdog at the house.
That's not enough.
We're not going against Miami.
Enough. Miami's going to hang, I don't know how many on them tonight. They'll beat them by 20 tonight.
This game could be better than what the spread represents here. The Bulls also a underdog at the house, 8 points. But the Suns only have 10 losses on the year. I think they're 42 or 45-10. Bulls not a shabby team though. I'll do it. Chicago at the house. They're gonna get the dub tonight. What do you got?
I'll take the Suns. I'm taking Chris Paul and the Suns, and that they all have their role, and they're going to be tough to beat. So that's the kind of team you want to take on the road, is where everybody knows what they're doing, and you got one guy that's running it, and that's Chris Paul. So I'll take them.
Knicks at the Jazz for the last one. Our only home team. That's a favorite. They're an 8-point favorite tonight. Knicks at the Jazz. Hopefully the assistant coach isn't hanging around with any laptops tonight around Julius Randle. Who do you like in this game, old school?
It's the Knicks at home. I'll take the Knicks.
No. It's in Utah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going with the Jazz.
You're going with the Utah Jazz. We don't have a lot. You know what? I took the Bulls instead of the Suns. I got to roll with the favorite here. Let me get Utah. Let's do a little on this day in 2005. Britain's Ellen MacArthur becomes the fastest person to sail solo around the world, taking 71 days, 14 hours, 18 minutes, and 33 seconds. That is a long time to be on a boat consecutively. You got 2011 for us?
Sure, 2011. I don't really know what this means. The Laureus World Sports Awards. It's at Emirates Palace in Abu Dhabi. And the sportsman that was named was Rafael Nadal.
Mm-hmm.
Sportswoman of the year was Lindsey Vonn.
Mm-hmm.
And the sports team of the year was the Spanish men's national football team.
No doubt. I really put this in here because I'm right there with you. I don't know exactly what in the world this means, but it was on the list. And Lindsey Vonn has been commentating the Olympics, and she's done a killer job. I've really enjoyed her takes and stuff. And so Friday night after the show, I go home, I put on NBC, and guess what shows up? It's the opening ceremonies. You remember how I was saying I wanted to wake up at 5:30? So glad I did not wake up at 5:30 in the morning to watch. I did get to see the United States team come out, and that was cool. Watched probably like 30 or so countries, and I was like, all right, I'm done watching this. I need some sporting events to watch. But Georgia was making their way down, the country of Georgia, and she was like, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. Ooh. Georgia won the national championship. Could this be the year for Georgia to win their first gold medal? And she's like, I realize it has nothing to do with the state of Georgia, but I just thought that was cool because not too many commentators would
have known that
or taken that angle and just merged American sports in Olympics. I love it, man.
She was a heck of a competitor, too, and
yes.
What a skier she was.
No doubt about it. In 2021, Sarah Thomas became the first woman to referee a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, Florida. first one to referee a Super Bowl. Not
Before we go, I want to
Yeah.
I want to go back to this lady from Britain.
Yeah, Ellen MacArthur.
The fastest person to sail solo around the world. That's in a boat by herself for 71 days, 14 hours, 18 minutes, and 33
Don't
seconds.
forget the seconds now.
I mean, that's just, I can't imagine when you think about, I'm going to go sail around the world and I'm going to be by myself in a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's just, what a daunting task. And for her to be able to accomplish that, wow, what a feat.
Yeah, dude, can you just think about how many times do you got to stop for food or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't, there's no way that you're going to feasibly have 71 days worth of food and water.
Fish or something. I don't know.
True. But I mean, how big's the sailboat at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. I could not imagine. So shout out to her.
Yeah. Heck of a, I mean, how impressive is that?
Do you wonder if she ever was like, you know what, I'm going to try to break that record?
I don't think so.
No, she was probably like, oh, man, I'll never do that again.
Like, I can't believe I did it in the first place, and I'm never going back out there by myself.
I'm staying away from a sailboat for at least 71 more years.
I love to sail, but, man, by yourself, that's terrifying.
Ooh, no doubt about it. Bengals tight end Uzama intends to play in the Super Bowl. He says he's doing everything he can.
What do you think? What do you think when you say I'm doing everything I can? I mean, what do you think that means? Is that he's doing the cryotherapy?
I would say
he's doing
yeah. Body maintenance, every type of any rehab that you can get into, and being honest but embellishing with your coaches and team doctors. You know what I mean?
So he's answering how he feels, but he's maybe telling them that he feels better.
Yeah,
than
right.
He really does, because he just wants to get out there and play.
I mean, unless your name's Tom Brady, you don't know how many times you're going to get to that big game, right?
Well, I remember when Terrell Owens made it to the Super Bowl and he broke his leg a couple of weeks before.
And played on it. And no one could guard him with a broken leg.
That's right. Because he was bound and determined, I finally have gotten there. I'm going to play. And they did the same thing. They kept saying he's taking all these therapies. He's doing everything possible. And we were all like, yeah. He's got a broken leg. He's not going to be able to play. It would not surprise me whatsoever if this guy doesn't somehow get out there and play.
Yeah.
Because he's waited his entire life for this moment. And it is there, and he's going to do whatever's necessary. Take whatever shot, do whatever I got to do. I want to play.
I love it. Old School, let me get your take on this. Okay. All right. We were talking about how the NFL could possibly go about. Ooh, we got some breaking news we need to share with everybody. But how we could possibly fix the NFL Pro Bowl. And Kent Bullard just sent in a text that I've been seeing this all over Facebook as well and Twitter. Still waiting on the NFL to do away with the Pro Bowl and have the two worst teams from the season play each other for the number one draft pick. Now, this is just brought up by people. There's no, I don't even think it could work at all. But would you like to see something like that instituted? I would not. I think that that's irrelevant. They could tank in that game. No, man. Nah.
No.
I don't think that changes a dang thing.
I don't either. I think that the best thing to do with it sometimes is to just, when the horse is lame, shoot it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the situation where the Pro Bowl has run its course. Go ahead and name people to be on the Pro Bowl, but you don't have to have a game. You just don't.
Yeah, I think that's the best one that we've heard to this point. All right, so the Saints have made their move. They've got their guy. It's going to be their defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. So you're keeping somebody from within the family and promoting him.
Does that surprise you, Dave?
No, it doesn't. I felt like the writing was kind of on the wall. I was hoping that
Eric Bieniemy would get at least a shot at it.
Yeah, no, that's really what I wanted to happen. It's still so insane to me that Eric Bieniemy is not a head coach. I don't get it. I would like to be a fly in the wall in those interviews just to see what's going on. Lynn Haven Rob texts back in. The winner gets the number 1 pick. I get it. I just think that's a waste of everyone's time to watch the 2 worst teams. Like, at that point, you need to have like a 4-team tournament of the 4 worst teams or something like that, and maybe throw in a college team, or you set something up with the USFL and the XFL. You know what I mean? Where, all right, hey, you lose this game and you're off to another league. That money ain't going to be nowhere near the same. Michigan, Eddie, give me a minute here. Let's get out of this segment, and we'll get you on the line, all right? So call me back in about 10 minutes here. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Overnight weather forecast for the entire listening area. Mostly cloudy skies, 40 to 45. Light north winds, 30-40% coverage of rain showers. The clouds will thin out to some sunshine Tuesday. Temperatures approaching 60 and a north wind about 10. Wednesday and Thursday will be around 60 or so. Plenty of winter sunshine to go around. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Offord Tire and Service Center in Callaway. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Tonight on ESPN Radio.
Got it! At the buzzer on the road!
It's a critical showdown in the Big 12 when the 10th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks head to Austin to face 23rd-ranked Texas.
Good! Up he goes, down it goes! Oh, slam dunk with 2 hands!
10th-ranked Kansas Jayhawks, 23rd-ranked Texas.
Coverage begins tonight at 7:30.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Impact Promotions in Wicked Wheel presents Beat Down at the Beach 23, featuring a stacked-up lineup of MMA boxing and kickboxing matches. Impact Promotions brings the hard-hitting action to Edgewater Beach Resort February 12th. Reserve your VIP table today. Call 850-691-9650. You don't want to miss this action-packed night. Call 850-691-9650 for tickets. Sponsored by Advantage Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Love is in the air at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, and do we have a sweetheart of a deal for you? All diamond hard jewelry is on sale for 30% off. All color gemstones, 60% off at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We also have a large selection of gold, silver, and estate jewelry that is sure to melt her heart. Folks have trusted us to make their Valentine's sweeter. This year, make it even sweeter with a free long stem rose with every $150 purchase. Now that's a Valentine she'll never forget. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, melting hearts for over 45 years.
For the best donuts in the area, the locals will tell you, Dandy Donuts and Deli. The donuts are amazing, but the breakfast and lunch choices are super. Cheese grits for breakfast are a tradition at Dandy Donuts and Deli. Try the spicy chicken for lunch. So, for classic donuts, biscuits, burgers, and the best apple fritters in the area, it's Dandy Donuts and Deli. Same location since 1985. 1147 Harrison Avenue, across from Bay High School.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. From Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We are live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, yeah, man. I love some music like that. That just gets you pumped up. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and on Blab TV. Get on your Roku or on your Fire Stick and download the Blab TV app and take us with you. Or, watch us there. Yeah. And they got great programs on as well. And not to mention the Pensacola Ice Flyers. And they're playing some good hockey this year. Best believe it. Let's get over to the phone line. We've got our man, Michigan Eddie, on the line. Go ahead, brother.
Go Blue Sharks here, Harrisburg. We're going to put these back. You got to change that intro from Tyndall Air Force Base all the way to Eglin Air Force Base, because that's where I'm pulling in from as I just left the gate, the Valpy gate, going into Valpy and a nice Tucky and all that. Just throwing that out there, Randy. So what say you guys? Go Team USA. What's up?
Let's go, man. Hey, let's go. Which sport are we talking about?
Anything. Bring it.
You're the one calling.
Oh, okay. No, so anyway, Michigan, of course, keeps Harbaugh. which I think is a leverage deal, and I think he was feeling it out. He had to scratch that itch, right?
Mm-hmm.
The NFL, things didn't happen. I would have been a fly on the wall. No one knows really what happened inside those walls in many. No one knows. But what I do know, there's a lot of rumors that Josh Gattis was rumored possibly to be the potential head coach if Coach Harbaugh were to leave for the NFL. Now, fast forward about a week later, Coach Gattis is rumored to be the University of Miami offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if you, Super Dave, and old school, why would you leave Michigan with all that talent? You just made the CFP to kind of go to a dumpster fire such as University of Miami, and they're rebuilding with Coach Cristobal. Why would you leave?
Man, maybe he was expecting that job, the head coaching job for Michigan, and then when Harbaugh comes back, he's just like, well, he's probably not going anywhere for a while, so it would behoove me to get down to Miami, and because Michigan's in a good spot right now, right? So if you go down there and you transform that program with Coach Cristobal, you could have teams calling maybe a little bit quicker. But then again, you stay there at Michigan for one more year and you get the job done and you raise the trophy over your head, then teams are calling quicker, aren't they? So I don't know, man. I feel like you could get a job faster by staying at Michigan because it's going to be a 2 to 3 year rebuild possibly for Miami.
Yeah. And, he was just passed over for the UVA job. He was in the running for that. So I heard he got like a $600,000 pay raise, the better climate, and all that. But then again, after he puts that text out to his players that he feels not appreciative, maybe there's something going behind the scenes there where Michigan's kind of, because Gattis, he was good, but he wasn't all that he was cracked up to be speed and space. Because Michigan's offense had Harbaugh's name written all over it. The fullbacks, the running game, the tight ends, and a couple trick plays here and there.
So in a sense,
really speed and space.
Well, in a sense, then you're kind of in the same position as me, and I don't mean to be beating up on Pete Golding, or Bill O'Brien, but I feel like both of the coordinator positions at Alabama, we could have better play callers there. We could have better defensive schemes in there. So are you in that same boat with Gattis as far as you would like to see an update at the offensive coordinator position? And maybe that's another thing with him going to Miami is maybe he gets a little bit more call in the say.
I like the play call, how it was, a little trickeration and all that, the run game, run first, run drives the pass, and all that. So I'm kind of hoping for a Ron Bellamy or a Mike Harden, Michigan men, take over the helm. But here's one thing real quick there, Super Dave and old school. People were dogging Coach Harbaugh for listening to the Vikings, right? Oh, where's your loyalty, blah, blah, blah. Well, back in 1980, you'll like this old school being from Texas. In 1982, Coach Schembechler was very, very close to taking that oil money from A&M and becoming the Aggies head football coach.
Wow.
In 1982. Did you know that?
Old school shaking his head, yes.
I did.
He forgot it was a radio show for a second.
Yeah. So it almost happened to the pure Michigan man himself, the original Michigan man himself, Coach Bo Schembechler, who Harbaugh is a disciple. So he's kind of going right off the tree of his head ball coach, Coach Schembechler, the exact same thing. I think he's there for the long haul, so why would you leave? Hey, love your show. Go Team USA. Let's get some more medals. And God help the Pistons, Lions, Red Wings are looking up. Air Force is doing okay. Love you guys. Go Truck State Air. And I'm calling from Eglin Air Force Base, baby. From Tindall to Eglin, Randy. I'm out.
I love that. I'll be bringing that up to Mr. Randy tomorrow from base to base. I like that, though. And that's awesome. Thank you so much for all of the kind words. Team USA, though, what have you been tuning into Olympics-wise? I got to be honest with you. This weekend, I didn't get a lot of. I think I saw some more skiing, some more downhill skiing with the moguls and stuff. Been trying to at least keep up with hockey. We just got done beating, I believe it was Switzerland 8-0. So they're on a great track to be more than likely taking on Canada in the gold medal game when we get to that point.
I think Canada is our next opponent.
Oh, they're okay. So in the grouping, then,
right.
Wow, that's going to be a tough one. Canada, they beat Russia yesterday. What was it? I think 6-1, 6-2, something like that. But they wore masks for the entire game because there was questions going on, or basically some technical difficulties going on with the COVID-19 testing for the Russian Olympic team.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched. I was a little surprised by the fact that our superstar giant slalom lady.
Oh yeah.
She flamed out in the first heat, sort of, and did not make it through. That doesn't mean that she won't win a medal, but that was the one that everybody was targeting, thinking that she was going to win, and she did not. It's happened before. It's disappointing for us, but it was good to hear that we got a medal, and I think a silver medal in moguls last night. So my favorite parts are when they get to the bobsledding and the all that kind of stuff, the luge and all these different crazy.
Yeah, I asked Sam Peebles what his favorite Winter Olympic sport was, and that bobsledding.
Yeah, the bobsledding and the luge and all of that stuff, man, that's just so much excitement.
So when it comes to bobsled, I know it's Team USA,
Absolutely.
but how much of you is going to be pulling for Team Jamaica?
Oh, a whole bunch of me.
Yeah.
Cool Runnings, it's one of my favorite movies. It's a great story. It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
And here they are. They're back in the Olympics again. It's just, the only thing that would make it better is if John Candy was managing it and coaching them again. It's just an awesome story, and I love it. And it just shows you what the Olympic spirit is about.
Yeah.
It's not about coming away with a medal. It's about going there and representing your country.
Yeah.
And participating in the Olympic spirit. Now, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And we get caught up in, the medal counts and this and that. And okay, whatever.
Well, it's a lot. It's just different for country. The bigger countries who have 200 plus athletes. I think USA had one of the largest ones that I noticed at 217. But then you have, countries who have like one or two athletes there. And it's like alpine skiing or whatever. I was kind of putting myself in the position, like if I live in a country with only one or two athletes, man, that kind of changes the whole game because now you're just really focused on one or two sports.
Absolutely. And the whole thing for the Olympics is to go and to participate in sport and to participate in the camaraderie that sports generates. And unfortunately, the Olympics have become politicized in numerous situations, and I hate that that it has. But it's still, you can't help it when my team, when our team is on the ice, it's USA all the way. But I just think it's really cool that these countries that do have one person, or in the case of Jamaica, where they send a bobsled team there, I just think it's awesome. And the other thing is the other athletes that are there think it's awesome. When you see the other teams rallying around them and helping them and doing anything, that's when you realize, this is what it's supposed to be about.
No doubt about it, dude. Skeleton, which is basically luge, but face first.
Forward. That's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
You got to have a big gallbladder to do that.
Somethings.
Yeah, somethings. I mean, luge is one thing still. Like, that's something that, whoa, one minor, just a bump in the ice or something can really change the trajectory of your path down. And some bad injuries could come along with that. But when you're doing face first, golly gee willikers.
I can't imagine. And I remember back in the 70s when there was an Olympic and the bobsled literally flew off the track into the trees and the competitors were killed. It is a dangerous sport. And you can imagine, and now they have two-man luges.
Whoa.
Where you got one person that's driving and the other guy's pushing. And I'm like, so you're putting your life in the hands of somebody else. And, and you're flying down this thing of ice at ridiculous speeds with no protection whatsoever. It's got to be incredibly thrilling. But I couldn't do it. There's no way.
So this is interesting. Professor Plum just texted in and says there's an interesting article on Drudge about how China is treating Olympians who test positive for COVID-19. I haven't had the opportunity to dig into that article, but I'll read into that tonight, and we'll talk about that some more tomorrow. But let's go Team USA. We're going to take a short timeout, and when we do get back, well, old school, we've barely even got through any of our headlines today. So I guess we're going to get right back to that. Maybe talk a little bit more about the NHL All-Star Game, and then I've got a text here from Wright State Chris that I'd like to read out.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 56.
The fairy tale continues.
Sunday, February 13th, we're bringing you the game live from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California.
Super Bowl 56 is sponsored locally by Diego's Burrito Factory, Bill Bird Kia, Best Way Portable Buildings, Mr. Transmission, Mid-South Lumber, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hill sent you.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with another Car Clinic Minute. No hitters, mid-court shots, and quarterback blitzes all make for a doozy of a game. But did you know doozy originates not in the world of sports, but in the world of automobiles? When I come back, a shining example.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
When something's a real doozy, it's spectacular, larger than life. Just like the car that coined the expression. In the 1920s, the classic Model J Duesenberg, with its long ornamental hood and speed of 125 miles an hour, was considered a standard of excellence. Its name, Duesenberg, was shortened to Doozy to describe anything top-notch. The stock market crash of '29 took the high-priced luxury car off the assembly line, but the expression has survived. Now, I hope you have a doozy of a day. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 850-215-6290.
When you have completed dialing, listen for the ringing signal.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Stop the presses, man. Old school, what am I reading over here? Major League Baseball. It's like they've been talking with Chef Ross or something. They're stopping, and I know it's due to the lockout. Trust me, I get it. But they're going to be stopping testing its players for steroids after 20 years because with the work stoppage, basically they sent out an agreement or a work stoppage guide created by Major League Baseball's Player Association, distributed it to its members, and the Associated Press ended up getting a copy. So there was a question in it: will joint drug agreement testing be administered during a work stoppage? And the answer to that, based on past precedent in the NFL and NHL, it is unlikely that that MLB can administer JDA testing during a work stoppage. We are just coming off of our latest Hall of Fame vote where Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens didn't get in based on steroid use for the most part, right? PEDs. And really, in the case of Barry, do you think it was more greenies or do you think it was steroids?
Oh,
both?
It was definitely steroids, just because of the way that his body changed.
Yeah.
It was not just that, he was able to stay awake or whatever, and, which is where the amphetamines really worked, is because it would, after traveling, how the Major League Baseball, they have to travel a lot. And so they'd get in late at night, and the next morning you grab a handful of greenies and you're good to go for the day. That's the way it was back in those days.
Did you ever have a greenie? We'll move on.
Yeah.
So former Georgia and Wake Forest quarterback Jamie Newman signed with the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL. Good way for him to continue on his career. Maybe make another stop. Even though right now the CFL is absolutely bigger than the USFL and the XFL. So a great home for him up there in the Canadian Football League. And some breaking news here. Have you heard of a company called Rumble?
I have not.
I have not, but I have a feeling, a sneaking suspicion that pretty soon this could be a very popular streaming app, very comparable to Spotify and to Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. They've offered Joe Rogan, there's a lot of going on in the cancel culture with Joe Rogan right now. And I know this isn't sports, but it's kind of important. $100 million over 4 years if he moves from Spotify to their platform, which would absolutely help that company, Rumble, grow at a significant rate, but it would also, there's no censorship on that app, or at least that's what they're saying. But all of these companies are going where the money goes, and not just that, but the people who are calling for people to get canceled. Here's how you should cancel people, guys. This is what you should do, and we're going to move right on from this. If you don't like what you're listening to, don't complain about it. Who cares? Change the freaking channel, dude. That's how easy it is. They're living rent-free in your head because you want to cancel them. You sound stupid. All right? Now, we're moving right along.
Okay.
Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray has unfollowed the team and removed all Cardinals-related content from his Instagram.
Ooh, what does that mean?
That's what I'm wondering. Is he done with Arizona, or is baseball in the foreseeable future for Kyler Murray? What's better for him?
Well, I think, man, that's hard to say. He's so impressive as a quarterback, but he might be more impressive as a baseball player.
But it's so much harder. It's so much harder to break into that world of Major League Baseball.
True. But this is what, his third year?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not like
he
his
should have
contract.
one more year on his contract.
Yeah. Plus, then they could extend him if they wanted to. I don't know. That's kind of odd because it seemed like he was very happy. Man, I don't know what to make of that, other than perhaps the fact that maybe he is going to go play baseball. He was a first-round draft pick in baseball.
No, 100%. But now that he's spent 3 years, so how old is Kyler Murray? He's 24 years old. It takes about, even for number one draft picks, they stay down in double, triple A for 2, 3,
4 or 5 years.
Right. That's in 2 years is on a fast pace.
Yeah, I think when Dansby was the number one overall pick, it took him 3 years, 2.5 years to get to the majors, and he wasn't ready when he got there. So, I mean, for Kyler Murray at age 24, it's a little bit, but who knows? Maybe he could do it.
Let's get over to the phone line. We've got Mr. Richard on the line with us. What are you thinking about Kyler Murray?
I think it's maybe a bargaining chip to maybe redo his football deal before the Cardinals would be forced to. Maybe threaten to go back to baseball, make it look like he's going to go back. Two bidders are always better than one bidder.
That's 100% true. He's going to be making about $965,000 for 2022 base salary. That's base salary. Signing bonus is close to $6 million. And he's going to count against the Cardinals for only $12 million, which is not as much as what it has been in the past for him. So I don't know, man. This is weird, but you're right. Two bidders are a lot better than one, Richard.
Football coaches, college football coaches do it all the time.
100%.
That's the first thought that popped in my head.
Thanks so much for the call, Mr. Richard.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Hornets guard LaMelo Ball and San Antonio Spurs Dejounte Murray have been named replacements for Kevin Durant and Draymond Green in the NBA All-Star Game, who are dealing with some injuries right now. So we'll see about that. And here's a cool story out of Ohio. Their governor has temporarily renamed 3 parks to honor Cincinnati Bengals. So DeWine renamed Burr Oak State Park in southeastern Ohio to Burrow Oak State Park. I mean, it almost already sounds like Burrow. You know what I mean? Burr Oak sounds pretty similar to Burrow, but Burrow Oak State Park now, obviously in honor of Joe Burrow, who grew up in nearby Athens. And then Paint Creek State Park is going to be temporarily renamed to Evan McPherson Extra Point Creek State Park. Going to need a bigger sign for sure.
That's a lot of painting going on that sign.
No doubt. And that's in honor of their kicker, who's, got the Cincinnati Bengals to this point on his foot.
And a Florida boy.
No doubt. So that's awesome. And then the other one is going to be former player Ickey Woods, which I think is awesome. Such a legend. Ickey Woods State Park that's what it's going to be for, Houston Woods State Park between Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio. So that is some cool stuff out of Cincinnati. Let's see what else we got here, old school, before we get out of here for a break and then get into the high school spotlight. Don't forget about Kansas and Texas tonight right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you're a Pacers fan.
How's
your heart feeling today?
Like I'm telling you, got about 20 pages worth of headlines today, and it's just been fun trying to figure out which one you want to talk about next. All right, so Boston Tim brought up a wonderful point. I wonder when the players actually found out about this, because the Pacers and the Cavaliers were playing yesterday, and then the news broke like kind of in the middle of the game, or maybe even before it. So I think this is good for both parties, right? The Pacers have been talking about blowing it up all year long. Karis LeVert is a great player, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are having this season right now.
They're having a good season.
Yeah, they're having a great season, and they got Ricky Rubio, who's out for the year with a torn ACL, so they're sending him to the Pacers. He'll be a free agent next year, so that really doesn't do anything except for help kind of get rid of that Karis LeVert contract. And LeVert, 27 years old, averaging 18.7 points, 4.4 assists, and 3.8 rebounds, and he's only played in 39 games this year. Dude, you're talking about they're so young, the Cavaliers are. This is almost like adding a veteran, but he's not really necessarily a veteran because of a lot of the injuries that he's had and stuff. I think this is great. And who wouldn't want to see the Cleveland Cavaliers make a run, especially without LeBron James? You know what I mean? Do you think LeBron James is going to retire? Oh, no, what you got?
No, I was just going to say I did read that they told him prior to the game and that he did sit out the game because they had informed him that he was definitely going to be moved.
Well, why not just walk across?
So, I mean,
you just cross the scorer's table, head over to the other bench.
Because they hadn't signed the paperwork.
Yeah, no, I know, I get it.
But, at least they told him.
Yeah.
I was glad that they told him.
I'm excited for this kid, though.
I am, too. Given what he went through last year with the illness.
Kidney cancer, I believe.
Kidney cancer, man, it's just awesome that he's fought his way back, and he gets a chance to go play in a contending situation.
No doubt, and that's why I'm most happy for him. And I think you're going to see DeMontis Sabonis and Miles Turner on their way. I hate it for my team, but look, this is just where they're at. You know what I mean? And so, honestly, I love Malcolm Brogdon. I love watching him play basketball. Get rid of him, too. Send him somewhere where these guys can compete for a championship, man. What do you think about James Harden here? He's seeking an agent. Steve Nash said the Nets are not going to move away from him before the trade deadline. But then you've got Daryl Morey, who is the 76ers GM, had traded for him over there in Houston, and he believes that Harden wants to play with the 76ers. So is a Harden-Ben Simmons deal, who wins that trade, really, between the Nets and the 76ers? Or does it work out for both parties? Do you think Harden will be gone before the trade deadline?
Yes, I do.
Whoa.
I do.
To Philly?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I really do. We've seen whenever Harden makes up his mind that he wants something to happen, when he was ready to leave Houston, he made it to where they were going to do it. And if he's made up his mind that he wants to go play somewhere else, he'll do what's necessary to get it done. And I think that they are going to get it done. And I know that the 76ers are trying to stand there and beat their chest and say, we're not going to pay Ben Simmons and, whatever this. And he can sit over there and we're just going to fine him and whatever. But they're going to make the trade.
All right, let's see how that all works out. Trade deadline is, I believe, this Thursday. I know for a fact it's February 10th, though. February 10th. This is going to be Shaun White's last Olympics, man. He's
Lion tomato.
Dude, he's been carrot top on snow. No,
can't say that.
No. All right. So, man, that just sucks, though, because this guy's been around as long as I can remember, Definitely. So, y'all make sure that you try to check out some Shaun White events because this will be your last time being able to witness him in the Olympics.
I found it very interesting that when he made the decision that he was going to retire after this, it was not for any reason other than he just realized that how much his body was going through and that that it was time. And that he figured it out on a ski lift riding up the mountain, and he just realized that it's time. His body was telling him that it's time, and so now he wants to go out as an Olympic medalist of some type.
Let's do it. Bronze or better, baby. All right, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to take a short time out. When we get back, we'll get into the high school scores from the weekend and whatever else flies our way.
Overnight weather forecast for the entire listening area. Mostly cloudy skies, 40 to 45. Light north winds, 30-40% coverage of rain showers. The clouds will thin out to some sunshine Tuesday. Temperatures approaching 60 and a north wind about 10. Wednesday and Thursday will be around 60 or so. Plenty of winter sunshine to go around. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. This is Greeny.
I tweeted when Shefty's News came out on Saturday, if there was a Mount Rushmore of American sports history, Tom Brady's face would be on it. The reaction to it was obviously very strong. But that does then bring up the question. If you were making a Mount Rushmore of American sports history, what four faces would be on it?
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Panama City area? Think Real Estate is your team of local experts who simply love living and working in Bay County and helping others make their dreams come true through the exchange of homes and properties. We strive to provide excellent customer service in residential, commercial, and investment sales, as well as property management by combining classic customer service with crazy fresh marketing. Visit our website, whenyouthink.com.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. 800-470-1378. That's 800-470-1378.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs, broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Engage.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are in the Rib Crib Radio Room. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, and Old School is over here in breaks just issuing decrees. So whoever cooks dinner is responsible for eating the leftovers. What do you mean by that, Old School? Why can't the person who doesn't cook eat the leftovers?
Because they didn't earn the right.
Ah, that's true.
If you're not willing to stand in the kitchen, put it all together, make it all happen, then why should you be the one that gets to eat the leftovers?
That is a great point. Tune in every day from 4 to 6 to us, the Afternoon Underdogs, where Old School lays the law down. Let's get into some scores from our area. JUCO baseball, Gulf Coast over McLennan, which was the #1 seed, y'all, 3-2. Northwest Florida over San Jacinto, 6-5, and then Wabash and Chipola played to a 0-0 tie, or the game was probably postponed on Friday and they picked it up Saturday. You got girls high school basketball?
I do. Rutherford and South Walton hooked up, and Rutherford comes away with an easy victory, 59-49. Is that Florida State University High School?
Yeah.
Okay, they get a victory over Walton, 73-24.
Shellacking.
That's a shellacking. Another shellacking is Chipley takes down Alpha, 64-29. Rocky Bio Christian loses to Monroe, 38-20.
That's like a football score.
Yeah. And I can't say it.
It's Poplar.
God,
You got to take
Springs.
the U out of it, man.
Yeah, man. Poplar Springs and takes a loss to Ponce de Leon, 63-50.
And in boys high school basketball, Bay is having a season 21-point win over Arnold, 60-39. Monroe over Franklin, 55-38. And then here's a shellacking on the boys side of things with Alta over Weewa, 89-44. What a what a contest there. Make sure that you guys are cooking dinner tonight so that you can be responsible for the leftovers. I love that, man. That is making me chuckle every time I think about it. Old School. So I'm reading here that Major League Baseball and somebody from the government wants to get involved to, well, basically, the U.S. Secretary of Labor wants to help Major League Baseball with the lockout. United States Secretary of Labor Marty Walsh told MLB that he's willing to get involved in the ongoing lockout. That's according to Evan Drellich of The Athletic. They already, the players anyways, declined the mediator because they do not think that would speed the process up whatsoever. The government did get involved in the 94 strike, right? Mm-hmm. Did that help? No, we didn't have a World Series. So why does it matter now? What are you thinking about this?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe a little bit of pressure from the government, but usually anytime you involve the government, it turns into a wreck.
Yeah.
So I don't want the government to get involved. It's already messy enough, and the last thing we need is for the government to get involved and make it even messier.
No doubt about it. Minute and a half left. What'd you see from the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and specifically bring up the cliff shots?
Well, I mean, I've played that golf course.
Yeah, you have.
And
awesome.
That hole is a scary hole as it is. But, you know, for Jordan Spieth, who's a brand new father, I think his son, Sam, is, I don't know, maybe 6 months old at this point. Maybe not even that old. You know, Spieth hits a tee shot, and he's literally 2 feet from a cliff that's 60 feet down to the ocean. And straight down. He wouldn't even roll. It would just be straight down. And he decided to hit it. I mean, Michael Geller, his caddy, was trying to talk him out of it. He decided that he could do it. He did manage to pull it off, but it was a little scary. And afterwards, I think his family had a few words with him because he realized he came out and said, I should not have done that.
He really was. At one point on Sunday, you had about 8 golfers in realistic contention to win the Pro-Am. Do you like Pro-Am events?
I love Pro-Ams.
Love them?
Dude.
But so that's not – why don't they play on teams?
Well, they do. I mean, the Pro-Am, it's one of the touring pros and their partner. And it's a big deal.
Explain that to me tomorrow when we get on the show. We'll open up with that. We'll have your Minute with Max and a whole lot more going on tomorrow. Coach James Hill and the gang live at you 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. And we're going to get you to Paul Feinbaum until 7:30. Then the coverage for Kansas and Texas starts, and it's going to be a great one.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.